Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Just Another Struggling Writer, the beleaguered author's one-stop shop for commiseration and hopefully inspiration. My name is Carrie Scher, and I am just another struggling writer. I hit a big milestone this week, you guys. I hit 2 years on YouTube. So if it's all right with you guys, I'd like to just sit down and kind of reflect on my journey and how I got to this point. Something I haven't talked a whole lot about on this channel is my handle and my online persona of Just Another Struggling Writer. And that name comes from the feeling I had when I first joined the online writing community back in 2018 when I launched my blog. And I called it Just Another Struggling Writer because at the time I really truly did feel like just one of the masses, just another person trying to write and struggling to do so. I didn't feel like I was anything special, and I didn't feel like I was worth any more attention than any other person out there online trying to build a platform and a community and write a novel. And so that is how I wound up as just another struggling writer. At the time, I didn't really conceive of how I would aspire to make it more of a community because at the time, I didn't really think I would ever be a part of it. I certainly didn't imagine at the time that I would want to launch a YouTube channel. I am typically very private and very shy even, but even talking on my blog felt a little bit like giving too much away. And so it seems a little funny now that 6-7 years later, here I am with my full face on camera talking pretty extensively about my life and especially about my writing journey. But honestly, joining YouTube has been a really creatively fulfilling decision that I don't regret at all, even if it has pushed my boundaries a little bit. Originally, when I started this channel, my goal was to talk both about writing and reading. And truth be told, I was more inspired by the reading side of things. Creators like Reads with Rachel and My Name is Marines and other big name bookish creators on this platform. That inspired me to first start a podcast where I reviewed books and then eventually transitioned onto YouTube. But my main goal was still to be a writer. I didn't want to be a book reviewer. I wanted to be the one writing the books. And so even when I joined YouTube with bookish content in mind, I wanted to bring along the central driving force behind pretty much my whole life, which is writing. Even in my very first video on this channel, I tried to do a blend of both writing and reading content.
Just going off the name, you might be thinking that this is just going to be a writing related channel, but that is actually not the case. I do plan on doing some booktube related content as well, including reading vlogs and book hauls and even some book reviews. You might also see me posting just some slice of life content as well, just showing my life of being a parent and being a person with a full-time job while also trying to write and doing a lot of reading and just sort of how my life all fits together. Spoiler alert, it doesn't.
If you remember that setup back in my old house before the fire, yes, the fire, you're a real one. And for the longest time, my channel vacillated wildly between book content and writing content, but more heavily featured book content. Even though I really wanted to be a writer, I was spending more time focused on reading books so I could make content than I was really on writing. Essentially, I was just really struggling to find my place as a content creator and as someone who both wants and enjoys reading books, but also kind of needs to advance myself in my career path as a writer. Finding the balance between writing and reading content was a real struggle for me for a long time. But in May of last year, I finally struck what I thought was a really good balance and hit upon this idea of chronicling my journey to write a single project from absolute start, basically the very beginning of the idea, to absolute finish, which ideally will be when I take it to the query trenches. What I would like to do is document the process of starting and completing a novel by someone who is really struggling to write and complete a novel. And I mean the entire process from day one till the end. It is that journey that most of you have probably come along at least part of the way through on with Seekers of Empyrean. And it wasn't until I started this series of vlogs about Seekers that I noticed that my channel really started to take off. It was then that I realized that maybe my niche should be writing and not reading after all. And as I started focusing more and more on my writing stuff, I started getting more into the writing side of YouTube. And it was in that way that I discovered the AuthorTube community, starting most primarily with Alyssa the Books and Meredith E. Phillips, but also everyone in their circle as well, and everyone in those circles, and everyone in those circles, until all of a sudden I was following something like 80 AuthorTubers and trying to keep up with it all, and more importantly, feeling inspired in my own journey to be like them, not just as a creator, but as an aspiring writer as well. Because these are people who, at least it seemed to me, were prioritizing writing and were making big strides in their journeys, and I was lagging behind. And so while, yes, I did take the first several steps of this journey to write a book on my own, it wasn't until I found the community that I felt pushed to really start moving with speed along this path. With that focus on writing, I noticed my reading taper more off so that I could focus on writing. Ultimately, that led me to making the decision to basically split off my reading content into a completely separate channel and focus this channel solely on my writing journey. I've been doing some thinking about how I want to move forward in 2025 with my channel and with the content I am creating. This will actually be my last book-related video on this channel, and all of my book-related content will be moving to a new channel, which I have decided to call Read, Share, Repeat. I still don't really know if that was the right decision. Most days I think that I do, because I do tend to have some pretty critical opinions on books, and I don't necessarily want or need that associated with my writing content. But on the days where I'm looking at my subscriber count over on my other channel, I do wonder if maybe it was a mistake to kind of break up the two. But in the end, I do think it was the right decision, because like I said, I've seen so much growth in this channel since dividing the two from each other. And more to the point, making that change has allowed me to curate my content a little bit more and really hone in on the niche I want to fill in this creative space. Again, the community is a big part of that, joining the live streams and getting into the comments with other aspiring authors and cheering on my favorite author tubers on their journeys, as some of them are querying for the first time or getting agented or getting a book deal. These are all things that I have seen just in my short time in the AuthorTube community, and I just could not feel more proud of these people, but also more hungry to achieve that for myself in a way that isn't competitive, but is, just building off of the energy that is so rampant in this community. With that being said, I am still looking for ways to improve. I will be the first to tell you that I am really bad at video editing. I'm really bad at the filmography side of things. I don't know how to frame shots. I don't know how to do lighting. I'm really bad at colorizing, and editing just takes me a really long time. But I want to get better. I want to get better. I want to continue making content in which my cats don't fight each other. I want to continue making videos that people are interested in watching, not just because of the actual content, so to speak, inside the videos, but because I want to continue getting better and making better videos and learning more, because making videos has become a hobby for me, one that I really didn't expect. At first, it felt like work. I mean, it kind of is. It's a lot of work, especially for someone who's not very good at it, but it's also really fun, really fun. I've had so much fun with this channel. And like I said at the beginning, that was not something I expected at all. You good? So if you're someone out there who is thinking about maybe jumping into it, and you're worried about getting lost in the sauce or the weeds or the algorithm, and you're not sure that it's worth it, I absolutely recommend giving it a shot because it's just fun. And it's really cathartic. Even though I'm someone who struggles to make connections and I'm kind of socially awkward and I'm always kind of lingering at the background, even in big groups of people with a common interest and a commonality like this AuthorTube community, I tend to lurk because I'm just a little bit anxious. Talking into the camera doesn't feel quite as intimidating. In that way, I am able to just kind of dump everything that I'm feeling and dump everything that I want to say without feeling super anxious about it. As you can probably tell by the fact that I've been yapping now for almost 20 minutes, and yet I struggle to respond to comments or comment on other people's videos because I just feel too anxious. So again, if you're someone who wants to join this AuthorTube community, I highly recommend it. And if you have already joined this community, I would love it if you dropped your @ below to your own channels, because I am a big believer in following and supporting small creators. No shade to the big name creators out there, the one with 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 followers out there. They do great work, but I want to make connections with people who are at the same point in their journey as I am. Someone who is still writing their first book, or maybe revising, or had a book in the trenches but had to pull it, but you're still working towards that goal. I love creators who are a little bit older like me. I just turned 37 last month. I love creators who have kids, who are struggling to wedge in writing among all of their other obligations. I love following creators who have chronic illnesses and are having to battle through that. I love following creators who don't really have it all figured out, but they're making it work anyway. I love following creators who only just recently learned that they love writing after following a different career path for so long. I love following creators who, like me, are filming videos in their bedrooms with a cheap microphone they got off of Amazon and a camera that they saved up to buy, and maybe aren't the best at editing everything together. You guys are my favorites. So if you have an AuthorTube channel, please let me know so I can subscribe to you, because it is you guys who have lifted me up as well and made me feel so supported and made this journey, this whole channel, the hobby that it's become, and the very fulfilling creative work that I never expected to desire, much less really love. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate it. If you like my content and want to support the channel, please like and subscribe, or consider leaving a comment down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, leave me like a video camera emoji. In my next video, I will have my week 4 writing vlog of my 12-week writing challenge. And not to spoil it, but it finally happened. I hope you look forward to it, and I will see you then.